Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Millennial Smart, and I'm back at it again with another video. So, at first, I thought about saving this for the SmackDown intro, right? I said to myself, this is not that big of a deal. I hear people in the comment section talking about this. Apparently, I'm pretty lost in the sauce, but I was so busy with the video, the 50 most controversial matches of all time video, 41 through 50, is still up in the heading. You can see it right there when you go into the homepage. You just check that video out and stop being a little bitch. But I figured something crazy was going on based off the comments yesterday and today. And I said to myself, let's go check this out. So I see the heading, clear as day. I have yet to read the article. Link is down in the description box below. It says, Ricochet says there wouldn't be AEW without him. Now, I'm going to go into this clear-minded. I'm going to go in this super charitable. I'm going to assume that Cage Size Seats is highly exaggerating. You know, it's a clickbait title. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's how I'm going into this, okay? Is Ricochet going to say something really, really, really retarded? Or is this going to be something incredibly valid? Like he's a giant influence on the company based off of the things he's been doing for nearly 15 years. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it might be something in regards to his influence in the company, even though there's a lot of people who wrestle in the company just like him who have been doing that style of wrestling going all the way back to ROH circa 2002. And he himself was influenced by them. But I digress. Let's see. Maybe it's credible. Okay, since coming to AEW this past August, Ricochet believes he's made a big splash in the company, which he feels he was custom made for. Why, if it weren't for Ricochet, AEW might not exist, according to the man himself. During an interview with Chicago's 103.5 KISS FAM, Ricochet took a moment to pat himself on the back saying, and I quote, "I'm not saying that I'm the sole reason, I'm just saying. If there wasn't Ricochet, there would not be AEW. Again, I'm not saying I'm the sole reason that it happened. I'm just saying." So you are saying, but I digress. Continuing on. Ricochet believes his work with stars like Will Ospreay and promotions such as New Japan Pro Wrestling helped create an environment where AEW could thrive. Though he acknowledged Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Ospreay for their roles in establishing AEW, he stood firm on his impact on pro wrestling. And I quote, "I'm just saying, without Ricochet, there would be no Ospreay," said the inaugural WWE Speed Champion. Ooh, burn. You didn't have to say that, article. You could have said a bunch of other things. I mean, what? He's a former NXT North American champion, right? I believe Ricochet is also a former Intercontinental champion and United States champion. You could have labeled him any other title, but you called homie the WWE former Speed Champion. Now they know they wrong for that, but okay, that's fine. I get it. The article they don't like what Ricochet's saying, and to be quite frank, I'm not really fucking with it either. But let's continue on. Maybe something of nuance might be said in this article. Okay, let's continue on. Between responses, Ricochet flashed a smile, and his voice shifted in tone, hinting at some playfulness. Perhaps he was setting up future matches with the Bucks and Omega. He described his in-ring style as high-flying, hard-hitting, acrobatic, and adrenaline-pumping, qualities most fans associate with AEW. He says, and I quote, "I like to base my matches off of Jackie Chan, like what would Jackie Chan do in this current predicament? That's what I always think about. Like Jackie Chan would find some cool way to get out of this, or he'd find some cool way to get into this," said Ricochet. Before it was revealed that Ricochet would leave WWE when his contract expired, he openly expressed frustration with his career. After failing to advance in the King of the Ring tournament in May, Ricochet wrote on X, "Honestly, who gives a shit anymore?" The code. In a video accompanying his post, he stated something's gotta change. So, can I say something real quick? Because that's the end of the article right there. I want to go back to that previous paragraph where he said, I like to base my matches off of Jackie Chan. You know, one of my strongest criticisms when it comes to the wrestlers of today, especially the ones who focus more so on their in-ring or the in-ring component versus every other thing that literally draws more than the in-ring component, which is literally everything in professional wrestling minus the in-ring component, because people only care about the in-ring component when they actually give a fuck about the other factors that draw on professional wrestling. But I digress, embarrassing, digress. I just want to point out the fact that this man blatantly said the thing out loud. He said the quiet part out loud. How many times have I been saying for the longest? And I got criticisms by this. People are like, what are you talking about, Devontae? Let me be a disingenuous fuckwad and pretend that I don't know what you're talking about while you make this reference because I'm a stupid fucking hillbilly. I'll say things like, for an example, AEW, they are very, 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 very hard pressed to get over their acrobatic kung fu bullshit. I use those phraseologies typically, right? And typically I get some people in the comment section who says things like, what does he mean by kung fu? Is he trying to say that these guys go out there and they pretend to be stunt double people like in the movies? Like the black and white movies back in the 2000s and 10s? Because that's how much of a young dumb fuck I am. Yeah, I speak my mind. We all have podiums, and for some reason they gave my dumb ass one even though we all have ones. That means I'm not qualified to have one even though we're all having them. Right? Stupid shit like that. And I love how Ricochet blatantly says the quiet part out loud. He bases his matches off of the stuff he will see from Jackie Chan movies. And here's the funny part. They go even further than that, right? Typically, it's not just the Jackie Chan movies. Typically, it's not just the stunt double bullshit. That's just generalizing, okay? That's like saying, I like music, and then you highlight everything in regards to hip-hop, rock and roll, and all this other kind of stuff. But in reality, I'm asking you in particular, what's your favorite type of music, right? It's not just I like music. I'm telling you, I'm asking you, okay, what is your favorite type? Okay, like not music, type. Give me a genre, give me a subgenre, give me something, right? It goes beyond just that. They typically take things from anime stuff also, right? Especially anime. There are a lot of people who are obsessed with anime who really care a lot about their stupid fucking in-ring component. And sometimes they even take it and they have the audacity to make a character out of it. Because everybody knows the best thing about anime when reflecting off of the real world is backflips will get you out of any situation when you're in a real life fight. Wink, wink. Am I right? But Ricochet, let's go to the main crux of the problem, right? Okay, buddy. No. And by the way, that little caveat that they said in the article also about he was being playful. No. See, there's playfulness, right? But there's also this thing called history. And Ricochet has a history of being incredibly narcissistic. He has an incredible history of being very, very conceited, okay? The guy is super duper arrogant. He thinks his shit doesn't smell at all, okay? If he could, he'd stick his own head up his own ass and he'd never pull it out, okay? No, everything that Ricochet is saying at the moment, he absolutely believes in, all right? The whole playfulness and, the smirks. I didn't see the article, I didn't see the video, but I can guarantee you that that's just pretty much just to kind of take you off the scent, right? Let me not make it so fucking obvious that I really am an arrogant son of a bitch who actually pretends and thinks to himself that his presence in the company, given his current position at the moment, definitely influenced AEW, right? That's why they were making all those overtures in regards to your contract, right? That's why you were, how long, when didn't he re-sign, or was he with them? Is this like, when he left WWE earlier this year, was it in one contract? Like, what I'm saying is between 2019 to 2024, did he re-sign at any point in time? I'm curious, did he? I'm very curious, only because I asked this question only because were there any overtures made for Ricochet to come into AEW, say around circa 2018, right? Right, that's when they probably started to really build up AEW, right? Around 2018-ish, right? Were there any talks about Ricochet coming over to AEW around that time? Because he joined WWE in like 2017, like late 2017, right? I'm just saying, he would have had to restructure at least one contract deal between the time, right? Was he ever like, I don't know, chased after in regards to AEW when they built up the starting point of the company when they were just throwing money left and right? I mean, they're doing that right now, but they were doing it no different in the beginning also. I don't think so. We would have heard about this, right? It's not to say that Tony Khan wouldn't have minded a Ricochet being in this company. I'm not suggesting that, but what I am suggesting is, buddy, if they wanted you that badly, they probably would have chased you a little bit harder, right? Or at the very least, you yourself would have probably reached out and done one of these things or done some of these things. Let's just hypothetically say you did do that, though. Let's just hypothetically say that you did stick your dick out and you were hoping someone put their mouth on it, right? Let me ask you a question, Ricochet. Why didn't you join at that point? Could it be the fact that you understand that you yourself were a big fish in the small pond when it comes to the things that you do in the ring? It's just too bad that that small pond happens to be an irrelevant pond somewhere in some bumfuck USA town in a small village or some shit, and it's not really in the Atlantic Ocean, right? See, the things that you care about in regards to what makes professional wrestling good, you yourself only indulge in, right? And then when you indulge in those, things that you believe that you're the best in, which you can make an argument that you are, but it comes to you and you start to realize that the thing that you consider yourself to be the best in is so fucking irrelevant and so pointless in the grand scheme of things of professional wrestling, that all the hype that you built around yourself of being good in this one particular thing makes you realize that you're not really that good at your job overall, right? That's why you were sitting there on Raw back in the days and crying and bitching and complaining and moaning and groaning. I don't get any chances. My name is Ricochet, and it doesn't matter when they're doing the question. My name is Ricochet, and I can flip my booty cheeks up on somebody's cock because that's what I do for a living, because I'm a twink. Yeah, Rick, that's what you're good at, bro. That's all you're good at, and you recognize that. That's why you sat in the cuck chair for so long in catering, watching all your compadres flip their ways over to a championship, right? Flip their ways over to the main event scene, because they actually, at the very least, not saying that they were good themselves, but that at the very least, they at least understood that it took more than doing a 630. It took more than doing a 900. It took more than doing a kickflip and a Superman. It took more than doing your stupid fucking acrobatic moves to get you to the top, no matter how good you are at it, right? Because in the end of the day, we all recognize one thing and one thing only. Who in the blue hell are you to steal a phrase from a guy that you like to steal momentum from and steal trademarks from? Yet you can't do it 1/10 of how he does it, but that's okay, Ricochet. But you think that you actually have all this input. You think that you yourself, the credibility that you built for yourself over the past decade on the indies, is why AEW exists. Well, then tell me this, okay? Tell me this, okay? Chris Jericho wannabe, Mr. I invented everything, okay? Tell me this, Andrew Tate. How in the blue fuck were you that influential in the processes of AEW being a creation, yet you've been wrestling on the indies for so long, and they started up in, I think, 2019, right? As a matter of fact, I think the idea for AEW started up in, I think, 2018. Call me crazy, right? I hear all the influences in the world. I hear about ROH. I hear about All In, the initial show that was sponsored by Cody and the Bucks. I hear about Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho in their match in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I hear all these influences, all these things that give the credibility a reason to want to be an upstart when it comes to Tony Khan marketing the idea of AEW when he first started it up, when it came to fruition based off of what Cody Rhodes and the Bucks did, and then eventually Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho put their grubby little hands on it. But never do I hear you mentioned. Ricochet, I think you need to understand, buddy, you are a dime in a dozen, okay? Not to say that you aren't good when it comes to the in-ring component, but you are a dime in a dozen, especially today. What makes you stand out now compared to a Sammy Guevara? What makes you stand out now compared to, I don't know, let's say for an example, a Real Ospreay? What makes you stand out right now compared to all the people who can flip outside of the ring? Do you think because you can do an extra twirl that makes you somewhat better? And newsflash, compared to the people who are now starting to come up in the rankings in the indie scene nowadays, I don't even consider you one of the best high flyers today going strong. Isn't that crazy, bro? And that's why I keep trying to say, and that's what happened to a Dolph Ziggler about 10 to 15 years ago, right? Dolph Ziggler, he was the show stealer, right? He was the guy who can go out there and have the best matches in the world. And guess what happened to him? NXT happened to him. And guess what happened to him when NXT happened to him? He became irrelevant. Why? Because when you focus on one component when it comes to professional wrestling, no matter how good you at it, it's the whole cliche CM Punk line where you're just being a spoke on a wheel. But you guys, you're like fucking spokes on a fucking like a four-wheeler bicycle or whatever. Like you are so irreplaceable. You are so redundant in the grand scheme of things. I guess you have to tell yourself something to make yourself feel better, right? Because obviously your career right now is in complete shambles, right? Congratulations on making so much money from a billionaire, who thought to himself that, wow, I really want this guy in this company just so I can get my little match between him and Will Ospreay, because that's really all I signed him for. He's never going to be a top guy. The dude's pushing 40 years old, okay? He has no charisma within him whatsoever. Dude can't speak on the microphone to save his soul. I don't know what the fuck a character is in regards to what the fuck he's trying to put across. Like, he literally has nothing like of upside to him whatsoever. Like, why do I need him? Yeah, that's right, he just needed you for Will Ospreay, okay? He needed you to make Will Ospreay look even better than what he is. As a matter of fact, it's not even to make Will Ospreay look better, because newsflash, at this point in time, even when it comes to the in-ring component, sorry to break it to you, Mr. Ricochet, but even Will Ospreay at this point is better than you in the in-ring aspect, and he's already better than you in the microphone aspect, and he already has more charisma than you, and quite frankly, right now, he's positioned to be a more priority than you at the moment. Ricochet, it's funny how you talk about the whole people need me and oh my god, I'm such a big deal. If it wasn't for me, AEW would be a big deal currently at the moment. Sorry to break it to you, Ricochet. They already have a better Ricochet, and his name is Will Ospreay. I know, that sucks to hear, bro, especially when you guys came up together and you were the first one to make it big, which I doubt that, because what it seems to me is that the only reason why you made it so big in WWE is because Will Ospreay decided not to go to WWE. I guarantee you, if Will Ospreay decided to go to WWE in 2017, they probably would have picked him over you too, because like I said, ain't here to fucking toot Mr. Will Ospreay's horn, ain't here to glaze his ass cheeks, but he's everything and anything that you are not. I know, truth hurts. I'm sorry. You suck, dude. You suck. You just suck. You suck. The one thing that you are good at, you're not even the best at. You never really were. You were just second place. All right, like, it's the old cliche in ECW where Paul Heyman shot on JBL. You know, like, JBL, the only reason why you're here is because Triple H doesn't want to work Tuesdays. Ricochet, you only got the spots that you got because Will Ospreay didn't want those spots. Yeah, sorry, buddy. You're not a big influence, but you can be. That's the thing, though, bro. You can be. Now that you're getting older, and now that you're getting slower, and now that you're now starting to look around your surroundings and recognize that you're no longer that young lion, maybe you can start to rely on things to make yourself stand out a little bit more. Maybe you should work on your microphone skills. Maybe you should develop a character outside of the cringe anime dumb shit that you do that has no relevance on anybody within the casual audience. Maybe you can do things to actually make you stand out and be a fucking draw, rather than believing that you're going to just fit within the mold of AEW with the rest of the jobbers who are doing every little single fucking thing the exact same way without anything in regards to any prominence to make themselves stand out. So you blend in with these losers, and then you sit here and you cope by stating things that are just factually untrue, buddy bow. No matter how much you want to sit here and cope and pretend, nah, guys, I'm just saying, I'm not really saying, but I'm just saying, I need some way to make myself feel better about my current position that I made. But here's the thing also, one more thing before I bounce. You could have absolutely been that guy in WWE. Now, see, facts are facts. You're not better than Will Ospreay in any aspect, period, point blank. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't have been in WWE still, and you couldn't have been WWE's Will Ospreay. See, that's what everybody are making a mistake in right now. Will Ospreay isn't the Ricochet of AEW. Ricochet is the Will Ospreay of WWE. And the thing is, that's okay, because if you just, pick up the ball and you run with it and you make something good of yourself, and you be a top star, then maybe you stand on a little bit more with your in-ring ability. Then you just be, I don't know, like the evolution of a Rey Mysterio at that point. Notice how you're never going to be the first Ricochet. You're either going to be a substitute or second place to Will Ospreay, or you're going to be the Will Ospreay version of someone within the company, but like the Walmart version of him, or you're going to be the evolution of a legend. Never will you rely on your name, but I would rather be the evolution of a legend and one of the greatest wrestlers of all time who actually was innovating things, right? Versus a guy who's in a company that's failing miserably, and he's a big fish in a small pond, and somehow I'm his version in the other company just to come to the company that he's currently in right now, and really I'm just second string quarterback to him being the Tom Brady. How does that make you feel, Ricochet? You're probably not going to listen to this video, and if you do, that's not my fault. But when you open up your fucking stupid ass fuckhole, these are the things that have to be said to you to bring your dumb ass back down to earth. Don't blame me, blame the mirror. Look at that guy in the mirror, slap himself in the head a couple times and knock some common sense into his stupid ass little boy. With that being said, I'll be back later on for SmackDown tonight. Roast me in the comment section if you want, because you know I'm right, and that's all you can do is combat with the ad homs and such. Because if you try to come with facts, guess what? You're gonna be wrong, because my facts versus your facts equals, my facts versus your opinions. That's not me being conceited, that's me being a Ricochet. Deuces and a P eyes.